Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting the local community. We have shed light on injustices and we've allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting the local community. We have shed light on injustices and we've allowed for our platform to be the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, well, we ask that you join the cause. Make sure that you're actively following and subscribing to our social media platforms. Currently, right now, this live program is being streamed on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on Facebook. We could be found under Frankie Olivo. We also encourage you to follow our personal page on Face. We could be found under Olivo Frankie. But more importantly, if you haven't already, create a Gmail account, go to YouTube, like, follow, and subscribe to our channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. It's free. Remember, we will never ask you for money. We will never ask you for food. You want this to continue to provide you with the latest information that is happening within our area? We'll gladly do so. All we ask in return is something very simple, something that won't cost you a dime. Make sure that you're following all of our social media platforms. Why? Why do we always start our program encouraging, motivating people to follow us on Facebook, on X, formerly known as Twitter, and on YouTube? What, you may ask? Well, as of late, our Facebook page that has 45, close to 46,000 subscribers is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the people, to know the truth. But remember, we will not be silenced. So if you're really about the cause and you want to stand up to corruption and you want to hold our elected leaders and those in leadership positions accountable, you know what to do. Make sure that you are actively subscribing and following all of our social media platforms. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday to Friday religiously. So make sure that you're following and subscribing to Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. We will not be silenced. And always remember, we are forever grateful to each and every one of you for the time and attention that you have provided us in this platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for that. How we doing, chat? Happy Friday. The day we all have been waiting for is finally here. For us living in South Texas, right now we are currently celebrating Charo Days, festivities in which we celebrate, appreciate the Mexican-American culture, where we remember the traditions and customs of our neighboring sister city that is Matamoros. Currently, right now, the students are off of school. We have parades lined up today, tomorrow. Make sure you make time, if you're available today or tomorrow, to go and cheer on these the different schools, band, choir, the dance team, those individuals that participate in chess as well. For myself, this is the best time of the year. What a great way to celebrate our heritage, our culture, than to be with our friends and our loved ones. If you haven't seen already, I think Brownsville Hood and even Tito Pulga have posted that there have been fights. There have been fights at these events, but nonetheless, we hope that you go and attend and enjoy yourselves. Make sure that you buy the food. You won't be disappointed. Today, ladies and gentlemen, going to be a quick show. I want to talk about President Trump visiting Corpus Christi, Texas this afternoon. He is set to deliver remarks in regards to the economy, and his administration has been pushing for expanding domestic energy production. This is right around the corner of the Texas primary election that is set for Tuesday, March the 3rd. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you make plans today, Friday, February 27th, to go vote. Today is the last day in which you can cast your ballot. The beautiful thing about voting early is that it doesn't matter whether you are in La Feria, South Padre Island, Los Fresnos, as long as you are a resident and registered to vote in Cameron County, you could vote within one of those respective different cities that we mentioned. But on Tuesday, on election day, you have to go to your precinct, to your polling place. You can't go anywhere. You have to go to your designated area. So if you haven't already, encourage your loved ones, your friends and family to go vote. Again, today we'll be talking about President Trump and his visit to Corpus Christi, and that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville. First, a word from our sponsor.
I've dedicated my life to public service, but now I see a county that's ready for change. It's time to bring accountability, transparency, and efficiency to how your tax dollars are managed. We can lower taxes and make government work smarter for you. I'm Jonathan Gracia, and I humbly ask for your vote for Cameron County Treasurer, so together we can build a better future.
Now, again, Friday's trip today will mark President Trump's second visit to Texas since beginning his second term. And many people have been wondering the reasons why he is making this appearance. If you haven't realized or haven't been paying attention, ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party throughout the state of Texas has been making ground. They have outperformed, if that's the proper word, Republicans in regards to voting. There is a discrepancy of over 100,000 Democratic voters that have come out in early voting. When we compare that to 2022, we have seen how the Democratic Party has exponentially outpaced the GOP. And there are many reasons for that. When we talk about 21, 22, we can possibly make the argument that the Democratic Party wasn't motivated to vote for whatever reason. Maybe they made the transition from voting previously blue Democrat to red Republican. What have we seen since then? Well, there is no question that there is, or it seems as if there is a shift from red to blue. Could this potentially be the year where the Democratic Party will win Texas? And that would be a big deal, because when was the last time we had a Democratic senator? When's the last time we had a Democratic governor? It would make shockwaves if the Democratic Party would be able to achieve that. Now, this isn't something that happened from one day to the next. This isn't a mistake. Many people within the GOP Republican Party have been questioning this current administration's how they have been addressing illegal immigration. ICE deportations now is the topic of discussion. There is no question that whenever we talk about illegal immigration, there is a need for us to stress the importance that this is a humanitarian issue. And administration, it seems as if no one has been able to come up with a solution. And it's a very difficult one, because whenever you see the scope of things, it is something that hasn't been addressed for many, many years. And whenever we talk about, if we focus here in South Texas, where the majority of the population is Hispanic, what have we seen? Outrage. People are upset. And you have seen the videos here in Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. We have seen how ICE raids have been conducted at restaurants, construction sites, and you and I have seen those videos. And one thing that many people have argued is that these people are being taken advantage of. At the end of the day, you are violating their civil rights. These are human beings. President Trump and his administration, in his quest for the presidency during the campaign trail, he stated, we're going to go after the bad hombres, those individuals that are here illegally, that are criminals, that are pushing drugs, that are flooding our streets with narcotics. And many people stated, well, you know, he's not going to raid the mom and pop stores. He's not going to raid the construction sites because at the end of the day, that's going to affect the economy. And look, it's a double-edged sword. The way I see things, I'm all about individuals coming to this great nation and obtaining the American dream. Heck, us that are here legally, that's what we all want. Much more so for those individuals that come from third world countries. What my belief is that if we do not address illegal immigration, ultimately what we're doing is we're affecting these individuals. How so, Frankie? Well, whenever we talk about undocumented workers, what have we seen? What have we heard? These individuals are being taken advantage of. They are not being paid properly. Women, I hate to say this, but women are subjected to very gruesome things. Adan, this is Trump. We'll focus on that on Tuesday. Women have been subjected to sexual assault. And these individuals, unfortunately, they always get threatened. I'm going to call ICE on you. I'm going to have you deported. When we look at the business owners, they themselves, and we saw this, and I hate to bring this up, but we saw this firsthand out of Abby's Bakery, out of Los Fresnos, how the individuals, they lived in a cramped room, small room. We have seen other cases where the living conditions weren't adequate. Not enough room, not enough proper lighting. So while individuals are outraged and are saying, oh, let these people live, let them make a living, what is happening is they are being subjected to very cruel environment, not just money-wise. You know, they're not getting paid minimum wage. They're possibly getting paid less than minimum wage. And also, you know, also for me, you know, the whole women thing, how they unfortunately feel as if they have a responsibility to give up their bodies to those individuals that came, that brought them over here. That's the reality, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a double-edged sword because one thing, it's a humanitarian issue. We feel for these people who want to come and have a better life for themselves. But at the same time, the business owners are taking advantage of these undocumented workers. And then the people are saying, you see, whenever they deport them, whenever they get rid of them, it affects the economy. But ladies and gentlemen, if this issue isn't addressed, when is it going to get fixed? When are we going to hold the business owners accountable? That is something that needs to be addressed. So because of this reason and many other reasons, ladies and gentlemen, but living in South Texas, and again, this has happened throughout the country, but us primarily being a Hispanic Mexican culture, that has been the outcry for many people living in the Rio Grande Valley, that these ICE detentions, ICE raids have been a humanitarian issue. And they have taken this out on the Republican Party. That is a big reason why we have been seeing, not just in Cameron County, but throughout the state of Texas, how the Democrat Party is coming out to vote. They are upset. They don't believe in the direction that the GOP is taking. Now, many people have stated, Frankie, you're making such a big deal. This is just a primary. Just wait until November. It is going to change. I agree. This is just a primary. And heck, if we look at the numbers here in Cameron County, they are lopsided. I think last night, let me just apologize for not being prepared. Last night, the 10th day of early voting, 18,540 Democrats came out to vote compared to 6,871 Republicans in the primary. That is a big discrepancy. Now, again, here in Cameron County, there is, correct me if I'm wrong, 16,000 Republican voters. If I'm not mistaken, there is, for the most part, more registered Democrat voters in Cameron County. But for there to be, for the 10th day of early voting, for it to be a discrepancy of, let's say, ballpark 12,000 votes, where 12,000 more Democrats came out of the primary. And there's a lot of people making arguments and saying, you know what, Frankie, the reasons why this is happening in large part is because of the Cameron County judge race. We have heard rumors where people have stated that people who primarily voted in the GOP in previous years are now voting Democrat. Why? Because some are favoring Steve Guerra's candidacy. Why? Because some are favoring Eddie Trevino's candidacy. Some are favoring Eric Garza's candidacy. Could that be the case? We don't know. Could this be the crossover vote where individuals went from they were blue Democrat, and then because of Trump, they went red Republican. And then now, after this ICE deportation, maybe they said, you know what? I don't like the direction this is going. So now we're going to go back. We're going to go back to voting Democrat. It's hard to gauge, but those are what people are talking about. And those are the reasons why people are saying this is why the Democrats are coming out. But again, it's not just in Cameron County. This is an issue that is happening throughout the state of Texas. So President Trump's trip to Corpus Christi, 2 hours away, is a big deal because we have the Texas primary set for Tuesday. So individuals, if they haven't already, they have 2 days, today, Friday, early voting, and then on Tuesday to make their pick for the different races that are out there. And what we have seen and what we have been following actively has been the GOP contest out of the Texas 34 Congressional District, which has turned into a high-profile and unusually personal battle between Mayra Flores and Eric Flores. They are seeking to challenge the incumbent Democratic Representative Vicente Gonzalez in the competitive South Texas seat. Now, what we have seen as of late has been that key national Republicans, including President Trump and the state GOP, Governor Abbott, they have endorsed Eric Flores, and they have criticized Mayra Flores' past losses as saying she can't win. Vote for this guy. Mayra Flores, meanwhile, she argues that her deep local roots and previous experience on the campaign trail give her the edge. She has name recognition. People from Corpus down knows who she is. Mayra Flores and her team have been rejecting the narrative that she is unelectable. What's interesting about this race, ladies and gentlemen, is numbers. You see, these types of races, and if we look at the Texas 34 congressional race, this is a race that encompasses, give or take, 750,000 voters. You're talking about a massive, massive scale. What have we heard? What have we seen? What have we been following out of this race? Again, this is a numbers game. whenever we talk about Mayra Flores, whenever she made the announcement that she was going to run once again for District 34, she, in her rollout, presented a poll in which indicated that residents out of Congressional District 34 heavily favored her over the rest of the candidates. Mayra Flores was in the lead, 30 points, which is very impressive. And it's hard to overcome that. It's hard to challenge that because, again, Mayra Flores has been actively campaigning in this area for the past 5-6 years. Mayra Flores, according to the FEC filings and her campaign finance reports, in those 5 or 6 years, Mayra Flores has raised at least $10 million, possibly up to $20 million. She has proven that she can run a very, very competitive race. What have we seen from her opponent, Eric Flores? Eric Flores, I don't want to diminish him because on paper, he has all great qualities. He is a former prosecutor. He is a veteran. What Eric Flores lacks in this race is name recognition. Eric Flores made the announcement that he's going to run in this seat back in June, July, in the summer of 2025. We are 7-8 months from that. Can he compete with someone such as Mayra Flores? According to the numbers, again, it's a numbers game, people. Because whenever you run a race in an area that has 750,000 voters, it's all about numbers. It's all about data. And what does the data show? That Eric Flores does not have name recognition. The way these races are gauged, if that's the proper word, is through surveys. Mayra Flores produced her poll. She provided data that showed that she was in the lead 30 points. Eric Flores received President Trump's endorsement right before Christmas. Many people stated that that was not a good move. If we remember, if we go back, the government was shut down. President Trump's focus solely was on opening up the government once again. That was his sole focus. When it opened up, he endorsed Eric Flores right before Christmas. But when you think about you listening to me right now, what's on your mind during the holidays? We're talking about mid to late December. Isn't it, I don't know, isn't it Christmas? Isn't it preparing for the New Year's? Right? You're not thinking about politics. And we understand that. So whenever it was Christmas time, we weren't talking about politics. Some people are saying, why aren't you talking about this? Who's going to listen to me? Nobody. Everybody's so focused on Christmas, New Year's, Los Reyes Magos, and then after the second or third week, I would say the second week, after the second week of January, boom, let's go. Game on. That's when you start paying attention to me. But other than that, you don't care. It's only us nerds. It's only us people that are actively following and monitoring these races. We'll pay attention, but to the average person, the constituent, they're not worried about that. They're focused on spending time with the family. So did Eric Flores' endorsement come at the right time? Many critics will say no. Also, Mayra Flores has criticized heavily the candidacy and the endorsement of Eric Flores because at the end of the day, he was a Biden prosecutor. According to Joe Michael, a resident of Corpus Christi, he made this post on social media where Eric Flores states the following: after 3 remarkable years as an assistant United States attorney, I have completed my commitment and my time in this role has come to a close. These years have been defined by unwavering dedication to the pursuit of justice, combating white-collar crime, and safeguarding the integrity of our financial systems. It has been a profound honor to serve this community, not merely enforcing the law, but upholding the ideas of fairness and accountability that bind us together. The work has been challenging, but it has also been deeply rewarding, reflecting the enduring promise of justice to protect and empower the lives of others. As I close this chapter, my commitment to this community remains steadfast. While my work will take on a new form, my purpose endures: to serve with integrity, to contribute meaningful, and to help shape a future that reflects the very best of the Rio Grande Valley. Well, Joe Michael, a resident out of Nueces, Corpus Christi, Texas, he stated that patriots have been sounding the alarm that before President Trump even sets foot in Corpus Christi, that Corpus Christi residents, got a full-blown imposter trying to infiltrate the movement. He called Eric Flores a fraud, a political snake who allegedly lied on his Trump endorsement application so he can steal a photo op and pretend that he's America first. According to Joe Michael, he stated that this isn't just fake. This is a calculated betrayal. While we were fighting for the MAGA agenda, knocking doors, turning over voters, taking the heat, he was praising his time working under the Biden administration and calling it remarkable. Remarkable? Was the border invasion remarkable? Was the crime wave remarkable? Was putting Americans last remarkable? Now he wants to stand next to President Trump and ride the movement that he never believed in? That is what a rhino operation looks like. Smile for the cameras, say whatever it takes, infiltrate from within, betray the movement. They got power from Corpus Christi. Joe Michael goes on to state, we didn't fight this hard to hand the movement over to a counterfeit conservative. Expose him, call him out, warn everyone, protect President Trump, defend the MAGA agenda. No more infiltrators, no more backstabbers. Attention, we the people. Very powerful remarks, ladies and gentlemen, because whenever President Trump ran in 2016, it wasn't the popular thing to endorse, to support him. That's when Mayra Flores was making ground, when she was making waves, when she was working out of Hidalgo County. You see, it is people like Mayra Flores who ultimately changed South Texas red. And back then, it wasn't the popular thing for individuals to sign up to run as a Republican. They were laughed at, they were mocked, they were belittled. And look what she did. She made history. She flipped a hardcore blue area red. What's that saying? Mayra walked so these people could run. Now, it is of my belief that Mayra Flores will come out victorious out of this primary. People have stated, whoa. Eric Flores has the endorsement of President Trump, President Abbott. Right now, President Trump isn't well liked in the eyes of the voters. If you look at his record, if you look at the people, he has gone down in percentage among the Hispanic voters. I think his all-time high was at a 47%. Now he's in the 20s. Will this endorsement help Eric? I don't think so. And again, remember, I've said it's a numbers game. It's a data game, right? Eric Flores, the highest he was polling was anywhere, and again, there's a margin of error of anywhere from 3 to 5 points. The lowest he was polling was at 13%. The highest he was polling was at 18%. And that's after President Trump's endorsement. That's not good. So when we look at the big picture, ladies and gentlemen, we see how Eric Flores, even with President Trump's endorsement, might not even make it into a runoff. And that's very telling. How do we know of these numbers? Because Representative Jenny Lopez ran a poll back in December, January. Again, Jenny Lopez is currently running for representative, as she is facing a challenger. And in her poll, Jenny Lopez outpolled Christine Luckey. And in that poll from Jenny Lopez, they polled the Texas 34 congressional race. And it showed Eric wasn't polling very well. And guess who got their hands on that poll? Washington, D.C. You see, this poll was disseminated amongst Congress. So Washington is freaking out. How could our endorsed candidate not be doing so well? It's interesting. Can President Trump move the needle? Could he get Eric Flores over the hump? According to data, doesn't seem so. We will see how Tuesday's numbers will reveal. But it is my prediction, Good Morning Brownsville will go on the record, that we feel that Mayra Flores will win this primary without a runoff. We have calculated, we are projecting that Mayra Flores will receive anywhere from 54 to 58% of the vote. She has been very strong in previous primaries, and we anticipate. I think the highest she was at one time was at 78. We anticipate Luis Buentello and Eric Flores nipping at least anywhere from 15, possibly 30 points off of that. So we have Mayra right there, possibly winning the primary without a runoff. Another interesting race, ladies and gentlemen, that we have been actively following has been the Texas Republican Senate primary, which adds a political dimension to watch. Again, if you love politics, this is a good battle. It includes incumbent John Cornyn, who faces challengers including the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Representative Wesley Hunt. All three candidates are expected to attend the event happening right now in Corpus Christi, because ultimately what they're trying to obtain is President Trump's endorsement ahead of Tuesday's primary election. According to the polls, and it depends which one you're looking at, John Cornyn, being the incumbent, is not doing very well. Many people have been shocked. If we talk about Ken Paxton, we see that he's not a choir boy. He has a lot of baggage. He just got over a divorce. He just came out unscathed. Well, it depends who you speak to. He just came out of a cheating scandal, if that's the proper term. And many people thought, you see, Ken Paxton has so much baggage, there's no way that he could beat Senator John Cornyn. Well, according to the data, ladies and gentlemen, and again, I got this poll because I personally don't see Wesley Hunt being as competitive as John Cornyn. Yes, John Cornyn has lost a lot of support in the state of Texas. Many people have been angry with him for multiple reasons. I don't think that Wesley Hunt is going to be able to dethrone John Cornyn, to come in second place. Many people are anticipating that this will be a runoff. President Trump has yet to make an endorsement in this race. Maybe he doesn't want to piss off or upset Cornyn. What happens if Cornyn is in a runoff and then he ended up winning the runoff? What's going to happen? What's the relationship going to be like? And if you've been following John Cornyn's campaign trail, whether that be through commercials, through his campaign literature. He's been campaigning on President Trump, President Trump, President Trump. And it's kind of ironic that President Trump has yet to endorse him. So what should we expect? What's going to happen? Today in Corpus is going to be very interesting. We anticipate Eric Flores to be there. Is he going to speak? Is he going to take pictures with President Trump? We don't know. Will President Trump public endorsement of Eric Flores, will that be enough to get him over the hump? I don't think so. Because again, it is 12:40 right now. Right now, President Trump, in the next hour or so, he is going to be debriefed in regards to the he's at the Port of Corpus Christi. And the reason why he's going to be attending is because he wants to deliver remarks that are going to be focused on the economy and the administration's push for domestic energy production. After he speaks with the representatives, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon. Are people going to leave this area after he speaks, and are they going to go to the polls? Some. There are others that say that Republicans, they vote on Tuesday, and they're going to come out strong. Is that going to be enough for Eric Flores to make it into a runoff with Mayra Flores? I don't know. Again, we will go on the record and state that Mayra Flores will win this runoff, will win this primary, I apologize, without a runoff. We anticipate that she will receive 50% plus one of the vote. But what makes it interesting is President Trump attending Corpus Christi. Ladies and gentlemen, politics is not a game for the weak. You have to have a thick skin. You have to be prepared for the opposing party, the opposing candidates to throw everything your way. What have we seen from Mayra Flores? That she has been shining, that she has some aura, confidence about her. Again, this isn't her first rodeo. She knew very well what to expect. She has outraised her opponents throughout this campaign. That is very impressive. Even after President Trump and the governor endorsed Eric Flores, she still outraised him. Eric Flores is in the hole $1.1 million, and he might not even make it to a runoff. That is very telling. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frank Olivo TV. Best believe we'll come on Monday through Friday religiously. All we ask in return of our community is something very simple, something that will cost you a dime. Make sure that you're actively following us across all of our social media platforms. But more importantly, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube titled Frank Olivo TV. You will not be silenced. Thank you so much for your time, your attention. Go vote if you haven't already. Make sure you enjoy Sombrero Fest Charo Days. Tuesday will be election day. We will not go live in the morning. We will go live at 7 p.m. for the election day results. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Bronzo. Peace. Hmm.